Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Finn React. Michael here today. Yes, we are starting it. I know we're in the process of preseason, going into week 1. We are preparing to get our little chart prediction. We do this every year, and then we look to see what we got. Now, I actually did some research. I actually ended up getting a list of each team's signings and returning players. Hopefully I do this right. And we only have 5 spots that we're going to worry about. Super Bowl contenders, as we all know who's going to make the Super Bowl. Playoff contenders, who will make the playoffs but don't make the Super Bowl. Don't make the playoffs, they'll just be on that wild card lingering. Mid-class, who is not going to really be good, but we have to put them somewhere. And early draft picks. So, let's begin with the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, well, I'm looking at the list. I mean, I see they signed Zay Jones to another year. They signed Jacoby Brissett, Dalvin Tomlinson, Josh Sweat. Okay, that's actually a good player they signed. That's their highest they signed for a 4-year deal. Cardinals actually put up a fight, with the struggling NFC East you had with the 49ers being the troubling team this year. I don't know how they're going to do. They actually got really close to the playoffs. So if I had to put Arizona somewhere, if I actually can find them first. Am I just having a moment that I can't find what... Oh, here we go. Cardinals. I will put them as the don't make playoffs. Just the fact that Arizona may surprise a lot of teams. I mean, their tight end's actually really good. I was going to say, McBride's always a good player to look for fantasy. Kyle Murray, I don't know. And Marvin Harrison Jr. needs to start showing up this year. So, next we got the Atlanta Falcons, the team I can't stand listing about. Not much they signed. I mean, I have here as Divine Diablo for 2 years. Leonard Floyd, Mike Ford, Morgan Fox. They attained Mike Hughes, Jake Matthews, and Kai Darrell Hodge. See, here's the thing. I can't stand listening to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry, I just did the Arizona Cardinals. I can't stand listening to Atlanta because I'm tired of hearing about Bijan Robinson being the number 1 pick for fantasy. I think Kyle Pitts is the most overrated tight end that deserves to be nothing more than just an early draft pick for losers. But Falcons may give Tampa a run, so I will put them as don't make the playoffs because I think other than that division, there's really not much of a contention for Atlanta and Tampa. I mean, Carolina sucks and New Orleans, I mean, we all know where they're going to go. All right, let's check out the Baltimore Ravens. Here's how I feel about this, obviously, guys. I am a big fan. We signed Ronnie Stanley for 3 years. We actually kept Patrick Ricard, Ben Cleveland, and Tylan Wallace, and Jake Hummel. Do I feel great about who we signed? Yeah. Our defense looks amazing. We got Alexander from Green Bay. I mean, our wide receiving game, it might be a little bit scary to watch. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is old, but we always sign an old person on our team. Derrick Henry, I think, is going to look great this year. Lamar Jackson, I need him to start picking this shit up. But I think overall, Baltimore is going to be a Super Bowl contender just because they have a weapon around. Yes, we do not have Justin Tucker as our kicker. I blame the masseuses that he did. However, we have a new rookie. So, you know what? Life will be sweet. The Buffalo Bills. They did a lot this season. Josh Allen signed for a 6-year deal, $330 million. Jesus Christ. Greg Rousseau, Khalil Shakir, Terrell Bernard, Ty Johnson, DeMar Hamlin, Reed Ferguson all resign. Did they sign anyone yes, they signed Josh Palmer, Joey Bosa, forgot about him. Dane Jackson, Derek Forrest. I think to me Buffalo looks good. I just think that Buffalo is another team, you know? They have everything they need for that team. The problem is they struggle when it matters most. They're definitely a Super Bowl contender. I just don't know how they're going to be in the long run later on when it comes to playoffs time. We all know that their division, I mean, other than maybe New England, otherwise, I don't think England really can give of competition to Buffalo other than what they are. So, I definitely believe they are a Super Bowl contender. Carolina Panthers, let's see. They haven't really done a lot that I've like. They signed Tershaw Wharton for 3 years. Never heard of him. Trayvon Morange for 3 years. Patrick Jones II for 2 years. Rico Dowdle. Carolina, I think, is a rebuild kind of thing. Do I think they deserve an early draft pick? No. I think Bryce Young can actually... I'll put him as mid. I think, to me, they're kind of a mid kind of look. Chicago Bears, the team I'm sick and tired of hearing, even though I really can't say crap for. They traded for Jonah Jackson, Joe Thuney. They retained Ogman Benbia. Never heard of him. Devin Duvernay. Hey, a former Ravens wide receiver. I don't feel bad for that one. Chicago's in a difficult kind of look this year. I think, to me, I'm kind of seeing a Caleb Williams actually can back up his words, because people are sick and tired to hear about Caleb Williams. As for myself, I'm sick of it. It's as Chicago fans, I mean, they're probably hoping and praying. The division's tough. With the division that they have, I think they might be a mid-class. I don't think they're going to be a terrible team. I just think they need to do some work around what they have. Which leads us to one of our division rivals, the Cincinnati Bengals, because I'm going based on alphabetical order. They did a lot of re-signings. Let's see who they signed, though. Ted Darrell Slayton, Samjean Perine for 2 years. They retained and signed Jamar Chase for 4 years, Higgins for 4 years, B.J. Hills for 3 years, Mike Gesicki for 3 years. Good for him, Jersey representative. Joseph Osasi, Cody Ford, Oren Burke, Marco Wilson, Tanner Hudson, Cal Amadeus, and Cameron Sample. You know what's really funny about this list? Their offense may look good, but they have no defense. And not knowing Hickerson's actually going to be playing with them this year, that's a huge loss for the Bengals. So right now, I'd say more likely they're going to be a playoff contenders just because their offense alone is dangerous. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl or be in that run this year? Possibly. Maybe they can prove me wrong, but I just think that right now, it's scary to watch someone like Cincinnati because you never know. They could look like they did when they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, or they could look like what they did in the last couple years and tank it. So, which leads us to my other division rival, which I don't really consider them a rival, Cleveland Browns. Let's see what they did during the time. Well, they gave a lot of money to Myles Garrett. They have 5 quarterbacks. Jersey Joe, they got Kenny Pickett, they got Gabriel, Sanders, Huntley, you name it, they probably had that quarterback. Cleveland. How do I really feel about playing? I hate to say it, and maybe I'm a dick. Well, yeah, mostly I'm a dick to all Cleveland fans. I just don't think it's your year. Do I hope it's not your year? Do I hope you guys make it to the playoffs? Kind of, because I'm tired of seeing Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. But you guys need a lot of work. So if you guys don't start off too high in the beginning, You got the early draft picks coming up. I mean, God forbid, you want to sign Archie Manning? Please don't, by the way. You can. But otherwise, I want to see how these rookies do. They had opportunities for many rookies, and they dropped the ball. It kind of also sees how Sanders does. Is the week 1 game in preseason what we're going to expect him throughout the season? Probably not. But I still represent Jersey Joe because Jersey Joe is my boy. Okay, next we got the Dallas Cowboys, the team that everyone else is tired of hearing about. Let's see what they did during their offseason. They traded for Kahir Elam from the Bills, Kenneth Murray from the Titans. They signed C.J. Godwin, Javonte Williams. They also got Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh. I forgot they did that trade too. Paris Campbell. I don't know. Dallas is a very weird team. I think to me, mid. I don't have anything against them. I think right now they're way overhyped, and I think it's finally time that people see who Dallas really is after what they did last season. I just think they're going to be the mid-class. I mean, they could bomb it and get a first-round draft pick and sign Archie Manning. That would piss off basically Eli, but that would be funny as hell to watch. Anyway, Denver Broncos. Let's see what they did during their offseason. Let's see. They signed Talanoga Hufanga for 3 years. I probably said that name wrong, guys. Don't mind me. Dre Greenlaw, Matthew Perrette, Trent Sherfield, Matt Hack. They also retained DJ Jones, Evan Ingram, Jarrett Stidham. Okay, that's actually an interesting one. I think Denver this year is going to give Kansas City a fight. I think just because of how they are this season and also what they did in the draft, I think to me is that everything they have something that can give Kansas City a run for the money. Do I think they'll make the playoffs? Yes. Will they go further than a team like Baltimore and Buffalo and maybe even Cincinnati? Probably not. But it's nice to see how Bo Nick does, so we'll go with that one. All right, Detroit Lions. Let's see what they did during their offseason. They retained Derek Barnes for 3 years, Levi Onwuzurike for a year. DJ Reed they signed for 3 years. Okay. I wouldn't say a lot of stuff they did during the offseason for them. But Detroit is also going to probably be the team to look after in the NFC North. I think, yes, you have Green Bay, and yes, you have teams like Minnesota, but Detroit has always been great. I think, to me, they are a Super Bowl contender if they live it up. Also, if Hutchinson's back fully, that defense is scary. You already got Gibbs, St. Brown, Jared Goff. You got that big offense. Even Devin Montgomery, for goddamn sake, guys. He's an underrated fancy draft pick, but I will put him as a Super Bowl contender team. So next we got the Green Bay Packers, speaking of the division. Alright, they signed Brandon McManus for 3 years, Isaiah McDuffie for 2 years, Aaron Banks, and Nate Hobbs. There's something about Green Bay. They have a playoff kind of team with Jordan Love. But with that whole division, I think they're barely going to make the playoffs this year. I just think this whole hype with Green Bay might come to an end. I was going to say, if Minnesota can actually show who they are, they're definitely going to be, a great team. But I think Green Bay is just going to miss it by the nick of it. All right, next we got Houston Texans. Let's see what they did off their season. They got Christian Kirk from Jaguars. That's actually pretty good. C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Eagles, who's hurt. Ed Ingram from the Vikings. Derek Singletary. MJ Stewart, Trent Brown, Draymond Smith. I think in that division, it's kind of like what you're looking at with the AST East. Houston doesn't really have a really competition for their team. I think they're going to be the first place team. They have a good lineup. I mean, they got Nick Chubb, they got Joe Mixon, they got Nico Collins, they got the tight end. They got everything they need. And Stroud is in his third year, so maybe they actually are a playoff contender team. Hopefully they don't bomb it. But I said that 2 years ago, and look what happened. But they, in their division, they really don't have competition right now, so I will put them as a playoff contender. And going back to their division with the Indianapolis Colts, I mean, they signed Daniel Jones, Cameron Byam, Charvarius Ward, Ashton Dunlin, Brandon Smith, David Long. I think the problem is looking like a team like the Colts is if Richardson's actually going to be a healthy quarterback, or are we just going to see a Daniel Jones year? To me, they're very mid, so I will put them in a mid kind of league for them. Which now goes to continue with their division, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They signed Patrick McCary, Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray, Robert Hainsley. I swear I look at these contracts and I say, how do these teams actually have this kind of money? I don't know. Jacksonville, mid. I just don't think they're going to... I was going to say, Trevor Lawrence is one thing. I don't know about this new guy they drafted, the one who plays wide receiver and defense. I think, to me, he's going to get hurt because the fact of the matter is you need to be healthy to play on the field, and also can't be on the field and trying to hurt people when they want to hurt you. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It might be dangerous, but it also could be dangerous for yourself. So I'll call them mid. Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City, we choke a lot. Let's see what they did during their offseason. They actually did stuff. They retained Hollywood Brown, Kareem Hunt, Juju Smith-Schuster. Why? They franchise tagged Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, and they signed Gardner Minshew, Billy Zapp, like they need more. Matt Araiza, Elijah Mitchell. Obviously, yeah, I will put them as a Super Bowl contender as much as I don't want them to be a Super Bowl contender. But the problem is a team like Kansas City, they're bound to start choking. When will they do it? I don't know. Maybe this is the year. I'm just tired of hearing about it. And I didn't hear much about Taylor Swift this year, but hopefully we don't have to hear about her anymore. Hopefully. Also, guys, please do not get this. I'm not being any mean, but the cereal with the Kelsey brothers, I tried it one time. It was too much. Too much sugar. And that's weird to say for me. Alright. Las Vegas Raiders. They trade for Geno Smith, so they actually have a quarterback. Who they did? They signed Jeremy Chin, Alex Kappa, Raheem Mostert, whatever his last name is. And they do got Brock Bowers, so... And they got Max Crosby. In their division, they would be the last place team people would look out for. I'll say mid. I don't know. Maybe the Oakland Raiders may show up this year. And why do I say Oakland? Because maybe we'll have the Oakland Raiders show up this year, not the Las Vegas Raiders. Anyway, moving on to the other division member of the Los Angeles Chargers, or San Diego. They did a lot of signings this year. Elijah Molden for 3 years. Khalil Mack for another year. Bradley Bozeman for 2 years. A punter, J.K. Scott, for 2 years. I mean, the fact that they matter is that they sign a kicker, a punter, and a kicker for those amount of years makes me cringe. I wish other job places were like that. They signed Najee Harris, Mike Williams, Deontay Jackson, Mekhi Beton, Benjamin St. Justy. I mean, Chargers, to me, they need this year to prove who they are. I think they'll barely miss the playoffs, but I only say they barely will miss it because I think the end of the year they will start choking. And I only say it because, you know what? Jim Harbaugh always has a history of choking when it matters the most. Super Bowl 2012-13. Moving on, we got now the Los Angeles Rams, St. Louis Rams. They actually did a pretty good signing, and one of my buddies who's a Rams fan at work. They reconstructed Matthew Stafford's contract. They signed Jimmy Garoppolo to a year. I don't know why, but they apparently did that. I mean, they signed Davante Adams for 2 years, if he's actually old enough still to run with it. Poona Ford, Coleman Shelton, Laurel McChurchin. Overall, I think right now the quarterbacks they actually have are pretty good. I mean, Garoppolo could have a year. Stafford still looks good. Plus, they got that rookie, so maybe that rookie might show up and we don't expect it. I mean, the running back is good. They got Puka who can run. They don't have Cooper Kupp, though. That's the difference. They don't have a 2. Right now, the Rams, I think, to me, are definitely a playoff contender. Can they make it to the Super Bowl like they almost did last year? Possibly. Just they don't play the Eagles. All right, the Miami Dolphins. Let's see what they did during their offseason. They signed Zach Wilson for a year, James Daniels for 3 years, Nick Westbrook, Ike Hine for 2 years, Elijah Campbell, Quentin Bell, Tyrell Dodson. I don't know. I think the problem is that Miami is also another team. I think they barely missed the playoffs. I just think Miami is not what they built up is. I mean, Tyreek Hill could have a year where he looks absolutely terrible and also can get in trouble more by the cops again. That set aside, Tua is also a dangerous. They also I was going to say, Tua to me is another hit away from retirement. God's sake, just put some styrofoam into that guy's inside helmet, not in the outside. Put the training helmets on them. That would look funky and hilarious at the same time. But I think in their division, they might be the team that people are going to say might struggle. All right, next we move on to the Minnesota Vikings. I guess that motorcyclist is a Minnesota Viking fan. I mean, they already lost one of the running backs for 3 games for failing a drug test. They did trade for Jordan Mason for the 49ers, so they actually got a good backup running back right now. They signed also Aaron Jones, so they got 2 decent running backs. Byron Murphy, Theo Jackson, Harrison Smith, and Ryan Wright. They also signed Will Freeze, Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, Eric Wilson. I think anyway. Let's see. Where do I believe that the Minnesota Vikings... I think the Vikings are definitely another playoff. I think they are the playoff contenders. It's just if McCarthy's the name we want to see as the new face of Minnesota. And maybe getting rid of a guy that they had was a mistake. But, you know, they got Jefferson still, so I think they'll work around it. So next we got the New England Patriots. I almost said, I think I missed New England Patriots. And then I realized they also have the players who they signed. Josh Dobbs for 2 years. 2 years? Mac Horston, Milton Williams, Carlton Davis. They signed Stefon Diggs. I think New England's definitely going to be I think they'll be bump up on it. Will they make the playoffs? Probably not. But they also could be mid. I'm going to keep them to make playoffs. I think they're going to do slightly better than Miami. Maybe New England can get the team that they used to have back then. Which, another team that will probably not is the New Orleans Saints. I'm just going to put them where they belong already. They traded for Devon Godshock from New England. They signed Chase Young, Jawan Johnson, Nathan Shepard, Brandon Cook. My problem is a team like New Orleans. The main important thing, they don't have a quarterback. Because Derek Carr retired. Otherwise, I think right now we may see the number 1 draft pick. Not Cleveland this year. But anyway, New Orleans, you may be the number 1 draft pick this year. I might call it out there. Speaking of a team that really needs to start waking the fuck up, the New York Giants, who I have friends who are Giant fans. Let's see what they did during their offseason. They signed Darius Slayton for 3 years. He deserves it, by the way. Tommy DeVito, no comment. Deontay Johnson, Amir Smith-Marset, James Winston, Russell Wilson. Do I need to go on? No, I don't believe they need to go on with that one. As most of the Giants are pretty much of a... I think they got a good draft pick this year. Their quarterback, I think, is going to be very unpredictable, but I think they're just going to be more of a mid. I think they might do slightly better than Cowboys, but we'll see how they do. Which is not what I was going to say about their next same division, which is the Jets. Let's see what they did. They signed Jameen Sherwood. They signed Justin Fields for 2 years. I don't know how to say about that. Mid. I think New York this year isn't going to look too pretty. Maybe they can prove me wrong. I doubt it, though. Which next we go to the team in the same area who's the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's see what they did. They got Kenyon Green, who got hurt in week 1 of preseason. They traded for Dorian Thompson-Robinson for the Browns. They retained Saquon Barkley, Zach Bond, Ben Vince-Summerin, A.J. Dillon, Joshua Usi, Avery Williams. If they play like they did last year, I'll put them as a Super Bowl contender. I think right now the Eagles are pretty much the team to look after this year. Do they have an easy schedule? They have a mid-schedule, but Eagles have a way of choking, so hope and pray. Next we go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to my division. Again. They traded for DK Metcalf. They signed Darius Slay, which is a good pickup, which I wanted the Ravens to sign. Mason Rudolph, Malik Harrison, Kenneth Gainwell, Ryan McCollum. I think they also are working on TJ's contract this year. Obviously, we know the history of Pittsburgh. Somehow, when they still are a terrible team, they still make the playoffs. So, obviously, I'm going to put them as playoff contenders. Let's hope for the worst. Pittsburgh fans suck it, by the way. Alright, the 49ers. What a mess they had this year. They retained Patrick Taylor. They traded their offense, basically. They still have Christian McCaffrey, who's walking on 5 legs, I heard. Luke Farrell, Demarcus Robinson. Mac Jones is a backup for Brock Purdy. Trey Brown. Maybe they're the mid-team to look for? I don't know. Maybe they actually could pick it up this year. They lost Debo. They lost their running back already. All right, which actually brings us to Seattle Seahawks. Let's see what they did during their offseason. They retained Ernest Jones, Jaron Reed, and Cody White. Okay, so they signed Marquise Valdes-Scantling for a year, DeMarcus Lawrence, Cooper Kupp for 3 years, Sam Darnold for 3 years, and Josh Jones. I think, to me, they're going to be if I put them as Arizona as a team that makes the playoffs this year, I think they're definitely a playoff contender. Let's see if Sam Darnold's the quarterback that we all thought he was in Minnesota. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's see. They signed Chris Godwin for 3 years. He was a great and then also a curse in fantasy. I have to say it for personal experience. Sterling Shepard. CJ Brewer. Hassan Reddick. I think just based on how they were playing so far this year, I think they're definitely going to be a team to look after. But Baker is probably what Tampa had really needed, so maybe I'll get some hope for Tampa this year. All right. The number 1 draft pick of this year, the Tennessee Titans. They drafted Cam Ward. They retained Sebastian Joseph, Andrew Rupich, Darrell Baker, Van Jefferson, Brandon Allen, Xavier Wood, not the wrestler, Kevin Zeltler, yeah. Honestly, I think my papers that my editor decided to give me are shit, by the way. So we got, because the last thing I think is up is the Washington Redskins. I think, to me, Tennessee is not really the team that we all want them to be. So let's just not go on. Let's see what our lovely friends from my editor decided to give me no information on Washington other than they got Deebo Samuels, they retained Bobby Wagner, Marcus Mariota, Zach Ertz. I'm surprised they still play. I think if they played like they did last year, I think, to me, they could be a Super Bowl contender, but I think right now they're still a playoff contender right now. I don't think they're Super Bowl ready yet, but hey, maybe they could prove me wrong. And now I can chuck out my editor's notes because they are terrible, by the way. I need to fire my editor sooner or later. But anyway, guys, I think if I'm predicting a Super Bowl matchup this year, unfortunately, I would have to say the NFC. I would have to say Philadelphia Eagles. For the AFC, I pray to God Baltimore does it. Will they? I don't know. I still think Buffalo still has a chance to prove us wrong. But we all pray that Kansas City does not make the playoff Super Bowl this year. So let's hope for any other good team except Kansas City. Who's going to get the early draft pick? Like I said before, I think the Saints are going to get number 1, Titans number 2, Browns number 3. Otherwise, this is my list. Do I have any regrets for this list? Absolutely not. So, anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a comment below. You want to see more of this channel? Subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, guys. This is Michael, signing out.